This is the best Gran Turismo update in the history of Gran Turismo updates, maybe ever, and there is no sarcasm in this video. So Gran Turismo 7 is the flagship racing game on PlayStation, available on both PS4 and PS5. It's just over 2 years old. It is a games as a service. They keep updating the game. They keep changing the online races, adding a lot of features, and also adding content. So they're bringing a free update, and it's meant to be what the players want. And this update is completely what the players want, because we are getting no new tracks. They're not adding new tracks. There are plenty of tracks in the game. No players want any more tracks. And we're getting 3 new cars. Obviously, players like new cars. So what are we going to get? Well, I'm going to explain here why this is the best update, is what the players want. So the first car we're going to get is a Vision Gran Turismo car. And this is a concept car. And not only is it a concept car, it's also a Skoda. So it's a Skoda concept car. It's a VGT. This means you can't buy this car in the real world. You can't drive it in the real world. We can't see anyone driving it in the real world. It exists purely in the game as a concept of where cars can go in the future. And the player base of Gran Turismo is just crying out for more concept cars. The easy thing to do would be to add existing cars that already exist, like racing GT3s or hypercars or even Formula 1 cars. But Gran Turismo say, no, that's too easy. We want to do the difficult thing, which is creating these concept cars. So the Skoda VGT is coming. And obviously, Skoda will have paid for this. There is cross-promotion here. There's a lot of promotion going online, which I've joined in on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter at Kireth if you want to see that. And it's basically a big advert for Skoda. It makes Skoda more relevant. It kind of brings Skoda into video games, maybe makes Skoda more cool. So the Skoda Vision Gran Turismo is the first car that's coming in the update. And as I've explained, that's exactly what players want. The second car is even more what players want, because it's another essentially concept car, but it's actually a prototype. And it's the Afeela prototype. And if you don't know what the Afeela is, well, this is Sony's concept car that you can drive with a PlayStation controller. They brought it on stage at one of the tech conferences a little while ago. And again, you know, Gran Turismo players have been crying out for prototype cars that you can drive only with a controller, all electric as well. So again, this is promotion for Sony, Polyphony digital developer owned by Sony. This is Sony's flagship racing game, as I explained. And now we're going to have Sony's prototype car in the game. Obviously, players are going to love this. They're going to be driving the car. They're going to be taking photos. They're going to be creating liveries for the car. It's going to become, I think, a cult favorite in Gran Turismo 7. And that's going to increase the demand for this car in real life. And this could become one of the best-selling cars in history, the Afeela prototype. I really do believe that. Now, the third car coming, and we're going to talk as well about some other aspects of Gran Turismo 7 and why this is the best update, no sarcasm at all. The third car coming is the Chevrolet Chevelle. This is a 1970s car. It's a muscle car. It's been in plenty of previous Gran Turismos. And it obviously, you know, I mean, the cynics would say that they basically have this car modeled and they've just had to click a few buttons to put it in this game. I mean, that'd be very cynical. Obviously, they will have created this from scratch, from the ground up, like they've done at Forza. And so it's one of the most difficult things they could have done, is to bring this 1970s Chevrolet Chevelle into the game. Again, another car that drivers have been crying out for. But this is a critical point, right? Gran Turismo has always had this edge where over the competition, where it's felt like Gran Turismo has a soul. And it's hard to explain into words, even though I'm a YouTuber, I should be good at this, but I can't really explain why Gran Turismo has had a soul. That goes all the way back from GT1, GT2, GT3 A-Spec, GT4, even through the difficult periods of GT5 and 6. GT Sport definitely having a very cool focus on online competitive multiplayer. And then even I would say GT7 sort of bringing back some of that old school variation there. But do any of these cars really have a soul that is relevant? Is this something that a game with a soul would bring? Or to be honest, is this what Forza Motorsport would do? Would Forza Motorsport bring some crazy concept car and a prototype and then an old American muscle car? So if Gran Turismo is doing what Forza is doing, then does that just mean that Gran Turismo actually doesn't have that edge over the competition? And why would you really continue to play Gran Turismo or buy Gran Turismo now if there are other games available, especially when you're looking in the sim space? If you want brand new hypercars, Le Mans Ultimate has the official licensed complete range of hypercars from WEC last season. If you want GT3 cars, iRacing just continually adding GT3s from IMSA, WEC and other series as well. If you want up-to-date road cars, well, Forza has a more up-to-date road car portfolio than Gran Turismo does. So Gran Turismo is ending up in this slightly awkward scenario where the content, I believe, is drying up. And that means that we have to look at what the fundamental platform is of Gran Turismo 7. Now, I think Gran Turismo 7 is still not really sure of its identity. When GT7 launched, it was a very difficult game to drive, if you remember. I made lots and lots of guides at the time to help you tune, help you guide, because it was like driving on a knife edge. It was really easy to get big snap oversteer and very difficult to get the car under control. Now, from my experience of driving and racing in real life, for example, when I did my Mazda MX-5 racing over in Spain, that actually is what it's like in real life. You don't just kind of easily glide back into a grip window. Once you've lost grip, it takes a while for the car to rebalance, for the weight transfer to settle. And I felt like Gran Turismo had that really nicely. You felt it as Suzuka, for example, going through the S's suddenly became a really difficult section to do. But they've lost that. Gran Turismo 7 is now quite a safe game to drive. It's a very understeery game. You feel like you're on rails a lot of the time. A lot of the mission challenges or circuit experiences have become a lot easier. And they still don't know what they're doing with tuning. Sometimes they have tuning on in the daily races, sometimes they have it off. They don't seem to have a coherent vision, which is like we're going to have some tuning races and some stop races. They don't really understand, I think, their player base. If you're in GT1 and you're doing a GT1 series like me, but I'm not an esports driver, but I'm fast enough to be in GT1, I can only do 3 splits on some like impossibly crazy, hard, difficult combos. So it just seems to be a confused game. Now, what I'm trying to do, by the way, is demystify Gran Turismo for everyone, and that's starting with my Beginner Masterclass. There'll be a link in the description to my Beginner Masterclass. So if you want to get fast from Gran Turismo 7, definitely go check that out. I'm continuing to try and help you. But I have these big questions. I mean, should Gran Turismo 7 even continue with these monthly updates without adding content? Or would we rather they become sort of every 3 months, we get a track and we get a whole slew of 10 cars? And they give it a bit more thought, because it feels like they've got this noose around their neck where they're trying to do monthly updates. Forza does the same. But the content now is wearing so... In fact, sorry, I'm no sarcasm here. The content is absolutely incredible. And I'm so grateful that we're going to be able to drive the Skoda VGT. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell my Peugeot and I'm going to buy a Skoda Octavia VRS. Because I just feel like I've got Skoda in my blood now. I'm very passionate. And the Afeela prototype as well. I can't wait in the real driving simulator, a game about racing, to drive the Afeela prototype, which we've only seen crawling onto a conference room stage. I just can't wait. So the future looks bright for Gran Turismo. Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to check out the Beginner Masterclass introductory thing in the comments below.